The boxing world reacts to Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight outcome with mixed opinions.
How many rounds? I don't know. You still want the Tank Davis fight? What? You still want the Tank Davis fight? What went wrong? What went wrong? Take out a real Steve or a fire out of me? Or is it still the same?
I mean, we're going to see. I'm the best fighter in boxing. I've been saying this, so.
Shakur, what went wrong for Gervonta in this fight? Just because, could we say maybe Gervonta didn't come in really?
I think he got overconfident. I think he was thinking Lamont wasn't that good. I told everybody how the fight was going to go. The fight went exactly how I said. Exactly.
After seeing this performance from Gervonta, do you believe your confidence has gone a little bit more up?
My confidence been up. I've been knew I was the best.
I mean, definitely an off night for Tank, but Lamont Roach is the guy, man. He showed up, and Tank gave him a tremendous amount of respect in the fight, and we saw why. I mean, he's a great counterpuncher. He's very high boxing IQ. He always says, "I hit harder than people think. I hit harder than my record says." He stunned Tank several times. You know, Tank looked like the guy with the heavier hands, but Lamont had the better chin. So it's all relative. You know, so if Tank hits real hard, but the guy can take it, doesn't really matter. And I thought Roach was brilliant tonight. He had a good game plan, but those early rounds are what haunts him. He's gonna lay up at night that he wasn't a little more aggressive early on, because early on there wasn't much going on. There was time for him to take places for him to steal those rounds. And obviously he didn't. I want to see what the official scorecard breakdown was and how they had everybody in which direction and which rounds. But I mean, super close fight. I could have edged it for Tank. Lamont obviously had great rounds. We wobbled Tank a few times. He got wobbled himself one time with a right hook, but I don't know, man. Roach won the story.
Roach won the story.
Roach won the story. He didn't get the win, but he won the story.
You know, in the early rounds, it was as though Tank was doing what he does and setting up a possible knockout or a probable knockout, which was what most people expected to see. And then over the course of the next several rounds, you saw that maybe the opponent, Lamont Roach, actually got stronger, moving up 5 pounds to 135 pounds. He was able to take Tank shots without ever really being in any serious trouble. That, I think, was unusual and disconcerting for Tank. He got a little desperate in the late rounds and began throwing much more than is normally the case. It created action, it created excitement, there was tension in the audience. It was a memorable fight, and I want to see a rematch as rapidly as a rematch can be made.
Lamont Roach beat Tank. I'm not even, we got to take it one step at a time. Lamont, no matter what, Lamont Roach was robbed of a knockdown. Glad I bought the fight. Damn near had the bubble guts. Yep. With that unofficial knockdown, Tank should have lost. I'm saying they robbed him of the knockdown. They robbed him of the knockdown. And Steve Willis is the best ref in the business. Tank took a knee, got up, and went to the corner and got his face wiped by a towel. Now, maybe Roach is just that good. Okay, I tell you this, he beat Tank. Whatever it is, he beat Tank. Tarver couldn't beat everybody, but he beat Roy. He beat Roy, bro. He couldn't beat Bernard Hopkins. He struggled. He lost to Glenn Johnson. Yeah, but he beat Roy. That's because Tarver knew Roy. Roach knows Tank. They said majority draw. They cheated Roach. Roach got robbed. A majority draw. They cheated Roach. They cheated Roach. Look at Jake. Everybody know they cheated him. Everybody know they cheated Roach. Everybody know they cheated Roach. Roach got robbed. And everybody knows it. And it was a 10-8 while they robbed him. They robbed Roach. Roach beat Tank. They robbed him. Rematch right away. They robbed him. And it was a knockdown 10-8.
It was a close fight.
I'm surprised the way Lamont broke. I knew Lamont was going to come to fight. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. They did a good job. Oh, what a great fight.
What was wrong with Tank Davis? I mean, I was
said what
expecting him
was
to
wrong
knock
with
him out.
Every night in boxing is not your best, you feel me? But at least you got the
Would you
draw.
like to see a rematch of this or jump into a fight with Shakur Stevenson?
Whatever they want to do.
You think it was a draw?
I don't know. It was a good fight.
What'd you think about the performance? You thought it was a fair decision?
Yeah, definitely, man. I thought they both put it out there. Roach definitely showed up and did his thing. But Gervonta Davis is the champ, and it takes a lot to be able to beat the champ. But Roach definitely had something that we all wasn't expecting. Right in the power, his combinations as well. He definitely came to fight, man. He got great skills, and it was a great fight overall.
There was a moment where it seemed like he was kind of like bullying the bully. You think that was kind of part of the
Yeah, I was
tactic?
surprised too because Roach is a little bigger than I thought. I didn't think he was going to be able to do what he did, but he ended up doing it. Man, congratulations to both fighters for making it happen and stepping up to the plate. And man, they went toe to toe at times, so it was great. It was great.
You think if they do a rematch, it'll be kind of a similar fight, or you think one will be able to
I think
make
it'll be a little different. Similar but a little different. I think there'll be a little bit more aggression next time around. I think there's like more spots they could have picked early on, but they did. Like I said, Roach might have power that he was catching them clean. Gervonta looked like the shits was whatever, but he definitely came back to like showcase his skills and hot as well as taking some body shots and stuff like that. But man, it was a good fight.
I mean, you gotta understand, can't underestimate the underdog, bro. He's hungry, you know what I mean? They wasn't giving him no credit. They were making it see it was a slouch, you could run over. You can't do that in boxing. Anything can happen. You can have a great night, believe it. You gotta believe in your soul, and I think the kid was in there with his soul tonight. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong. And to me, it could have went either way.
Either way. So you okay with a draw?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, the draw is not a loss or a win. For the fighters, it's like...
No. I know you're not okay with the draw, Paul. Let me make sure I clear it up. You're okay with the draw in this fight?
I think they did right.
Yeah.
It could have went either way. They chose a draw, one judge. So I think it's cool. I mean, they want to run it back, they can, but I won't do it. I just keep moving.
So, I mean, that's an interesting statement, but let me ask you this. Do you think in round 9 that was a knockdown? What happened with Tank?
Well, it wasn't a knockdown. He took a knee.
You should have counted technically.
No, you're right, but the ref didn't do it because he said his mouthpiece was in his mouth. Was it the mouthpiece?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't wait to ask them what it was.
I think it was a mouthpiece. I'm thinking. He was saying his mouthpiece.
I think it was his eye. That's what I saw on the camera, but I didn't hear. I wasn't listening to the fight. I was watching live.
Mouthpiece, but the thing is, he took a knee. There's a count. There's basically a legal knockdown.
And if they do?
Yeah, but the ref said no, but the judge could count it as a knockdown.
Oh.
He's a judge. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Just because the ref said it wasn't a knockdown, you could still, as a judge, could decide what it was to you. You're a judge. You do what the fuck. Nobody tell you what to do. You do what you want to do.
Should they have counted it as a knockdown?
He took a knee
In your
because
opinion?
something was wrong. He thought it was wrong that he could do that. He probably thought he was still in the amateurs. You know, an amateur take a knee.
Yeah.
You know, it's things that you do sometimes. You go flashback when you was younger and you think you could still get away with it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a good fight. Well, I think it was a great fight, believe it or not, because Roach made it a great fight.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was a good fight.
Davis returned to the ring against Lamont Roach in a fight that divided fans. Some saw it as a routine showcase, while others believed Roach would challenge Davis in ways few have. Post-fight reactions revealed mixed opinions. Experts like Oki Foster weren't fully convinced about Roach's durability, expecting him to be competitive early, but doubting his ability to withstand Davis' power in the later rounds. Foster highlighted Tank's reputation for breaking down opponents over time, questioning if Roach could endure that pressure as the fight progressed.
Two guys, they got history, and all of us got extensive background as far as amateurs. So I think people sleeping on that fight is going to be actually probably a good fight. I think it's going to be a really close fight early, probably the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then I can see Tank coming in and probably putting him away. I'm not sure about Lamont.
Foster's concerns proved valid, as Roach had never faced anyone with Davis's explosive power. Tank has consistently shown that it only takes one moment to end a fight. Before the bout, Gary Russell Jr. shared his thoughts on Davis versus Roach, noting their past history and what set Tank apart. He acknowledged that anything could happen in the ring, but highlighted that Davis already had 2 amateur wins over Roach. Russell pointed out the key difference now: smaller gloves, no headgear, and a more dangerous version of Tank than ever before.
I favor Tank. I don't think you can in an actual fight, you can never count anyone out based on the fact, they actually get in it. Anything can happen in the fight. You always got to keep that as an option. But if I was to choose, they already competed twice before in the amateurs. Tank beat them twice before in the amateurs. Now it's professional. The difference is the smaller gloves and no headgear. You feel me? So I think it'd be interesting in the first half of the fight. But I think on the later half or the back end, I think Tank would probably...
Russell anticipated Roach would have some early success, but believed Tank's power and experience would dominate as the fight progressed. Roach's strength and conditioning coach, DJ, clarified before the fight that Roach wasn't just moving up in weight, but leveling up in power. He emphasized that Roach was naturally bigger than many realized, and the transition to 135 lbs actually made things easier for their camp, providing a potential advantage in the matchup.
See him in the ring, see him with sparring partners, other guys in that weight class. He's Lamont's the real Tank.
DJ noted that cutting less weight allowed Roach to focus more on strength, rather than draining himself to make 130 lbs.
Originally a 130-pounder in his last fight, but moving up to 135, what was that transition like?
It's funny because everybody talks about it, but for us, it's less work actually. Because he walks around 155, 160, so that's just 5 fewer pounds to lose. So easy work for us. Less of a cut. Work on the strength, but he's always been strong.
While many questioned if Roach could handle Tank's power, his team believed moving up in weight made him more dangerous. Before the fight, Greg Hackett warned that Davis couldn't afford to overlook Roach. While most expected Tank's power to overwhelm Roach, Hackett believed Roach's disciplined, tight style could make things challenging. He emphasized that Roach had the skills and mindset not only to survive, but also to land meaningful shots in key exchanges, potentially turning the fight in his favor.
I feel like Lamont is still going to be tough for Tank. I feel like Lamont is going to show us who Lamont is, but it's going to unfold later in the fight, like around between 8 to 10. And I think Lamont get hurt to the body, and then Tank finish up top and stop him like in the temple.
Hackett emphasized that Roach's willingness to trade with Tank could be both a strength and a weakness. While most fighters try to avoid Davis' power, Roach had the confidence to engage in exchanges, potentially creating opportunities for him to land clean counters. Hackett continued, "I think Lamont is crazy enough to trade with Tank. I think he's smart enough to be in there with him, and his style is more suited for Tank because it's tight." However, Hackett warned that the real danger lay in Roach's compact stance, which could allow him to sneak in short hooks and uppercuts when Davis opened up for knockout punches, making Roach a tricky opponent.
Here's the thing, here's what I'm saying. I got to stand up. Tank, if you watch Tank, right? Tank make them little short movements and make a little explosive move where he might pull something, right, for a quick second. When he trying to dump a big shot, this I'm talking about the knockout punches. Lamont style is here, tighter style. When Tank go to open up, I think Lamont could land a little hooks, a little right uppercuts, a little shit like that. That'll make it a good fight. So with that being said, Tank will have to be careful.
While Davis was the heady favorite, Hackett's breakdown highlighted that Roach wasn't just there to survive. Roach had real weapons that could make the fight more competitive than many expected. Before stepping into the ring, Lamont Roach made it clear that he saw weaknesses in Davis' style, particularly Tank's tendency to start slow. While most viewed Roach as the underdog, he believed he had a path to victory by capitalizing on Davis' early round patience and outworking him throughout the course of the fight.
That was good.
Training camp was excellent. For sure.
He starts off slow. You think you could
Slow Saturday night, that's great.
you could win a decision on him, you think?
Yeah.
Roach suggested that if he could build an early lead on the scorecards while Tank remained cautious, he might secure a decision victory before Davis found his rhythm. Roach wasn't just focused on surviving. He believed he could outpoint one of boxing's most dangerous punchers by setting the pace from the opening bell. Before the fight, boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult didn't just predict a Davis victory. He saw a brutal, one-sided knockout coming early. While some believe Roach's fundamentals and technical skills could pose problems for Davis, Showbiz dismissed this idea entirely. After analyzing Roach's stance, movement, and overall ring presence, he concluded that Roach was out of his depth against Tank's explosive power and natural finishing instinct.
Have Lamont Roach be a worker. Lamont Roach is going to be knocked out extremely violently, very early in the fight, and it's going violent. And I'm looking at his stance and his feet, and I'm saying Gervonta is going to knock Roach out by accident. I think he's going to knock him out just for a muscle.
Showbiz also suggested that Davis would be more aggressive than usual, motivated to make a statement after Shakur Stevenson's lackluster performance against Edwin de Los Santos. With both Stevenson and Davis in the same weight class, comparisons were inevitable. Showbiz believed Tank would use this fight to distinguish himself from the competition.
Tank isn't a guy who just tries to go out and knock you out early. But I think he's going to be violent come Saturday. I think he's going to try to make a statement because Shakur Stevenson just fought with Padley. And so I think he's trying to send a message like, don't ever put this guy in my league. Even if, Shakur was supposed to beat Padley and I supposed to beat Lamont Roach, here's the difference.
For Showbiz, this wasn't just about a win. It was about dominance. He believed Davis had every reason to go out and erase any doubts about who the most dangerous fighter at 135 pounds was. Before the fight, former world champion Demetrius Andrade not only favored Gervonta Davis, but also made it clear that, in his eyes, no one in boxing could beat him. While some analysts debated whether Lamont Roach's skills and toughness could challenge Davis, Andrade dismissed this idea, emphasizing how difficult it is to solve the puzzle that is Tank Davis.
I mean, man, it's hard to beat Tank. It's gonna be hard to beat him. I think, Roach, he suffered a loss, like 2 losses or something like that, right? He suffered a few losses.
Instead of breaking down Roach's chances, Andrade quickly shifted focus to what he believed would elevate the event, a blockbuster fight between himself and Jermell Charlo. To Andrade, the card needed a second marquee matchup to bring more excitement, making it clear he saw Davis versus Roach as a one-sided affair.
I think, honestly, to make that card, more lively than what it is, they need Demetrius Andrade versus Jermell Charlo. That's what they need for that card right there. That's what's going to make that card. What about that? That's what will make that card.
I would like that over
that would make that card. Andrade versus Plant, Andrade versus Charlo. I think that makes that card more than what it is.
For Andrade, Tank's dominance wasn't in question. The real discussion was how to make the event more competitive. Before the fight, Ben Johnson firmly backed Lamont Roach, predicting an upset that many didn't see coming. While most analysts favored Gervonta Davis, Johnson insisted that Roach's preparation would shock the world.
A lot of people will be surprised, man. I've been seeing Lamont training hard, working his ass off. A lot of people will be surprised. I got him coming out on top. You already know that. So it's gonna be a great fight to come watch first, man. I can't wait to see it. I'm with my guy, my brother.
With the fight over, Johnson's words either stand as a testament to Roach's rise or as a reminder that belief alone isn't enough to defeat a fighter like Tank. Before the fight, Stephen Fulton pushed back against critics who dismissed Davis versus Roach as a mismatch. He argued that many questioning the fight lacked an understanding of the history between the two fighters and the significance of their matchup.
Criticize the ones that don't know the history between the two or that don't know certain fighters in certain weight classes, I can say. But guys like me and everybody else that came up in my era, as far as the amateurs stuff,
I want to see the fight. Like, I didn't see the fight because I know both of them, and they got history. We all know of each other.
Now that the fight is over, Fulton's words hold even more weight. Whether the fight met expectations or not, the history between Davis and Roach played a key role in shaping the narrative leading up to it. Before the fight, Oscar de la Hoya acknowledged Lamont Roach's talent, but recognized the massive challenge he faced against Tank Davis. While praising Roach's skills, de la Hoya admitted that the gap in experience and firepower could make it a difficult night for him.
Lamont Roach is a terrific fighter. He might be a little over his head with Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is, I mean, to say the least, he's a beast. He really is. He's a tremendous fighter. He's a dedicated fighter when it comes to training and fighting and making sure that he's in optimal conditions when he steps inside that squared circle. It's going to be a tough night for Roach, but you can never count him.
With the fight now in the books, De La Hoya's pre-fight assessment proves to be insightful. Whether Lamont Roach managed to defy expectations or the fight went as predicted, it played out just as many anticipated. One man facing a career-defining challenge and the other looking to reaffirm his place among boxing's elite. Before the fight, legendary commentator Jim Lampley discussed what makes Tank Davis such a dangerous fighter. While many focus on his knockout power, Lampley emphasized that even without it, Davis would still be an elite fighter due to his technical skill, footwork, and relentless mentality. However, it's his devastating power that truly sets him apart. Lampley stated that even if Tank didn't possess this shocking punching power, he would still be an elite lightweight based on his crafty boxing, southpaw style, clever footwork, and visible killer instinct. But it's his raw power that makes him a truly unique force in the sport. He doesn't just beat his opponents, he annihilates them in breathtaking, often scary fashion. With the fight now over, Lampley's words served either as a chilling prediction of another brutal knockout or a reminder of the danger Davis brings to every fight. Whether Roach was able to withstand the storm or not, Davis once again proved why he's one of the most feared fighters in the sport. This fight was always about whether Lamont Roach could handle the relentless power and skill of Tank Davis. Jim Lampley's words painted a clear picture. Tank isn't just a fighter, he's a force of nature. Now that the dust is settled, the conversation shifts. What's next for Tank? Does this performance fuel the fire for a super fight against Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney? And for Roach, did he prove himself at the highest level? Or was this a reality check? Either way, this fight has changed the landscape, and the boxing world is watching closely.